Hello and welcome everyone to this league's commentary of the Portuguese Grand Prix. Welcome everyone to the Algarve International Circuit here at Portimao. So we are here once again with another stream here at LFR. If I'm pretty sure I pronounced that correctly. So guys, thank you so much for joining us so far. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel to see more of this league's commentary on this channel. We are here for season 2 of round 5, if I'm not mistaken, of the championship event. Thank you so much for joining us. As I did mention, let's quickly go down details about this track before we get into the race. So we are here in Portimao for the Portuguese Grand Prix. 15 turns make up a circuit distance of 4.653 kilometers. That's 2.891 miles long. There's 2 DRS zones to help encourage overtaking, but with the conditions out on track, I don't know how those DRS will come into play. Those are gonna, if the conditions dry up, then we'll see a little bit more rain or a little bit more DRS during the race itself. But there is 2 DRS zones. There's one down that long pit straight coming down into that turn 1. And then there's another DRS in between turn 4 and turn 5 on that mini back straight. Not much places to overtake besides those 2 DRS zones, but I can tell you we will see some great action out on track when it comes to overtakes and all around just great racing. Oh, as we see the Alfa Romeo of Yunwan just spinning off there at turn 15, showing that the track conditions are quite difficult out there. But yes, guys, it's good to be back once again here at Limitless DxT coverage for today's race of the Portuguese Grand Prix. This is season 2 once again for round 5 of the championship event. Thank you guys so much for watching the race here today at Limitless Formula Racing. And in the comms booth for today's race is myself, Formula Jonah, and joining me in the commentary booth is Steve. So, guys, we're new to this, so yeah, give us as much support as you can. We're going to be commentating on today's race, on today's Tuesday race. For today's Grand Prix here today at LFR for the Portuguese Grand Prix. Now, this is my first time commentating on this track. Steve, what are you witnessing out on track that we could talk about right now? Yeah, you're absolutely correct. I mean, this track is quite new to the Formula 1 game. It just came out, like you said, a day ago. And so these drivers have pretty much no idea what is really the best strategy when it comes to setup and all that sort of thing. But we also have to remember that while these drivers have been practicing, I'm assuming this track for quite some time, as it's a brand new track and a lot of people want to see it going. But the thing is that these drivers probably haven't tested too much in this wet weather that we're seeing on track. And this is heavy rain. This is a lot of heavy rain. But I want to get your opinion on this track itself. It's a brand new track to the Formula 1 game, as we have been mentioning. It's a track that's only been running in Formula 1 as the Portimao track, the circuit, Algarve, of course, for the past 2 years in 2020 and 2021. So we haven't seen too much action when it comes to racing in Formula 1 for strategy and all that sort of thing. But what's your opinion on this track itself? Give us everything. Steve, sorry to interrupt you here real quickly, but for some reason, I don't think the viewers can hear you. Are you maybe muted, or is your settings maybe not working, like, exactly? Okay. I don't know if... You can hear me right now, guys. Give me 1 second. If you can hear me, please let me know. Hopefully our stream is not glitched or anything like that. Yeah, Steve, if you can quickly check your settings, that would be great. Thanks so much. It may be, yeah, maybe your voice being allowed to share. It might be one of those little connections there. Did you go to your party settings and maybe click the always allow for being streamed on a platform like YouTube? Give us 1 second, viewers, as we're gonna quickly get Steve on here.
Hopefully that should be us working now.
Okay, let's quickly see. All right, we can hear you, so that's good. Okay, real quickly, since we weren't able to hear you too much, Steve, I'm gonna quickly get your voice on the stream so people can hear you. Can you just kind of go down, kind of like summarize maybe what you were saying earlier, so the viewers can see your opinion on everything?
Yeah, of course. I was just saying this is a brand new track for everybody. So qualifying will be interesting, seeing who's done some wet weather practice and who's only done it in the dry so far, because the track's only been out a couple of days. It's a very good track, a very fast track, a lot of flowing corners, good sections, very up and down like a roller coaster, and there's some of those blind apexes that people are going to have to nail, which will be difficult in the wet, but come the dry, I think it should offer up some good overtaking, especially down the main pit straight with that DRS off that long, fast foot-down right-hander coming up to the pit straight. So it should offer a good race. I don't know what the weather's going to be like in the race, but I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, me as well. It absolutely is going to be an amazing race here today at Portugal. A fantastic track this truly is, and yeah, just can't wait to be racing, see these cars racing and commentating on the race here today at LFRs. We have Flea that just went 129.840 into 5th place. Well done to the AlphaTauri driver. At this moment in time, with 5 minutes and 30 seconds remaining of the qualifying session, we got Rabbi 16 on provisional pole position, a 128.858 on those wet compound tires, of course. And then we also, as that goes, F1 Farth, 128.9, just 1/100th of a second down off pole position. That is a very close lap time, showing that the pace is coming in quite a lot. And already, these guys have been practicing quite a lot. You can see that with the pace that they've been showing here today. It's incredible.
We've got a car off. Kingzone 94 has come off the track. No damage at the moment, it looks like, but he's back on the track and running. And A. Thompson on this lap had a spin as well, but again, no damage. So they both managed to keep out of the wall, but I think they might have to go back, change those tyres, put in some more fuel and get out for the last couple of runs. So a lot of drivers still, excuse the pun, getting used to the grip levels out there and getting to grip with things.
Yeah, I think a lot of drivers are still trying to get used to this, and I think it's not just about driving this track, it's the setup as well. It's the no one really knows exactly what's
gone off as well. Young ones just had a spin again, no damage, but these drivers they're trying to push and get those times down, but it looks like some of them are just pushing a little too hard.
I agree. I think they really are just pushing too hard, and that's affecting their race pace, or sorry, their qualifying pace, and they're making little mistakes to get off there. That's unfortunate, but it looks like the tires are starting to get a little, I'd say maybe it's starting to get a little bit lighter for the rain conditions, because we just had Dr. Wolfane, I think I pronounced that correctly. Sorry if I mispronounced a few guys' names. I'm quite new to this, but yeah, Dr. Wolfane in the McLaren, second fastest, a 128.5, but check DB in the Ferrari, a 128.4, showing that these times are coming in even faster faster. So I gotta say, for our first time commentating on this league, it's been quite impressive so far, and I can't wait to see what this race brings us. Quickly, I want to mention that this is the qualifying session of today's race, and we don't know what the conditions will be like in the race itself. Unfortunately, the commentators don't get that information because I wish the game would give us that, but the spectator menu doesn't allow that.
No, it doesn't. It would be interesting to know, but if it is dry weather running, sorry, for the race, then everybody gets a free choice of strategy, which I think will. Well, it would be good to see what the strategies are, and I've just noticed that Tim Shepop has decided to go out on a set of inters for his last couple of laps, as has F1 Fard. So you were right about that drying line and the lighter rain. So we'll just see if that pays off for them or not.
Yeah, it's possible that it could. I mean, we're coming towards the end of the qualifying session here, so drivers have to put on a fresh set of whatever tire they choose. Maybe the intermediate is the faster tire, as a few drivers, like you said, are going out on that. It's possible that that dry line is starting to come in, but they have to put on those tires fast because the times are coming down, and I mean, there's not much time to settle out. But you can see riding aboard the Aston Martin of Roar 222, the conditions are not bad out there, and it kind of looks like the intermediates might be the faster tires. There's still a lot of puddles on track, as you can see, but I think the intermediates might be the faster tire at this point, as the rain is getting very light, and whoever sets a lap on the intermediates might take pole position here today, and that might work out for them. So let's see.
It's worth a risk, I think, for a lot of the guys that aren't quite up at the top at the moment. Put on a set of inters, go out and try. If it doesn't pay off, then you're where you are anyway, and if it does pay off, then you could be moving up a lot of positions. Those inters will provide a good couple of seconds faster than the wet weather tyres if the track's in the right conditions. I now see that we've got 4 drivers, so CheckDB and Dr. Wolfang as well have both decided to go out in inters. So I think for this last run, why not try it? If it improves, it improves, and if it doesn't, you've done the best you can.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, right now, like you said, if the intermediates don't work out, you're still going to be in a top position. So, like, F1 Farth coming through this long left-hander, even if the intermediates don't work out for him, he'll still be, it looks like, top 5 at this time. So we'll see how that all works out. But what's going to be interesting is that into the race, if it is dry, that means tires will be pretty much, drivers can pick whatever tire they choose to. We'll get into that a little bit later on with strategy and all that sort of thing. But there is a few drivers out on track. Who are you seeing maybe improving on their times? Is there anyone out there that might be able to snatch pole?
At the moment, my eyes are firmly fixed on that top 5. Only one of them's decided to go back out in the wet. Outside of that, I've got an eye on Thompson. He's the lowest down guy that's decided to go out in inters. So if this pays off for him, he could be moving up quite a few positions over the guys on the wet weather tyres.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. If Thompson is able to get up there on these intermediates, he might be able to grab like maybe a top 5 position. That would be really good for him, and hopefully will benefit him quite a bit here. We'll have to see how it all works out. I kind of want to ride on board with F1 Farth this time, but he's going quite slowly. I wonder if he's weaving up those tires, as now it looks like he's going to go on the intermediates now. So let's go for an onboard with the Alpine driver as he comes down the pit straight. Now, okay, this track is a very difficult track, as we have seen, but in these conditions, it's starting to get a little bit more lighter, so drivers can probably push. Down into turn 1 we go. You're going to have, just make sure you shift down to around 5th gear, and then immediately on the power. Down into a really heavy braking zone of turn 3. This is a really difficult corner, I've noticed, and especially as you're coming out of turn 3, you're going to slowly shift up, but the problem is, though, is that you got turn 4. While you're shifting up, the traction can come out of that. It's kind of a difficult corner. Brake at the 100-meter mark as we come down into turn 5. DRS is usually enabled down that back straight. And then we come off of turn 5, traction zone as well. There's a tire in the middle of the track. That's not good. Turn 6, turn 7, and turn 8. Turn 6 and 7 are double right-handers. Now, this is a traction zone as well. Through turn 8, you're coming up the hill, and then immediately down for that roller coaster feel as you come through 9. Now we come through the double right-hander as Tim just went pole position, a 127.3 on the intermediate compound tires. Well done to the Aston Martin driver. That might be pole position, but F1 Farth is not stopping anytime soon as he comes through 13. Here we go. It's a heavy braking zone once again. And now we come through turn 14 as that is Keen that just spun it. The Alpine hopefully didn't get compromised by that spin by the other driver ahead. Get right between that curve as we come through 15. This is another traction zone. You kind of have to let off the throttle there as you come through 15. Up the hill for the line. F1 Farth goes P2, a 127.9.
I think that shows just how good of a lap Tim managed to put in. Farth is, I raced with Farth on my Wednesday night and I know how quick he is, so for Tim to be 6/10 ahead of him, that is superb. And I think looking at those times, the inters were the right call to go on to. I fear that Thompson got stuck behind a Red Bull though, and wasn't able to improve his time on those intermediates. So I think the grid is set as it is, and it'll be interesting to see how they get on when it comes to the race.
Yeah, and only 2 drivers were able to put in a lap on those intermediates, and surprisingly, but I'd say predictably, those 2 drivers that set a lap on the intermediates are sitting first and second. So Tim is on pole for Aston Martin, a 127.318. F1 Farth is alongside him on the first row of the grid for Alpine, a 127.9, with Czech DB in the Ferrari rounding off the top 3 on those wets. So we're getting ready to start the race here today at LFR. This is the Tuesday race. This is season 2. Again, of course, this is round 5 of the championship event. I'm your commentator, Formula Jonah, and joining me in the booth, of course, is Steve. If you're enjoying both of our commentary, please like this video. If you're also interested in seeing more of this league's commentary, subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. But that's the end of qualifying. We're now into the race, and hopefully we see what the menu screen gives us. Some dry skies, because we want to see some action on track, especially at a brand new track like this. The Portuguese Grand Prix is about to get underway.
And we do. It looks like beautiful skies out there in Portugal. So it's going to be interesting to see the strategies. I haven't done any practice on this track yet. So Jonah, do you know what the strategies look like? Are we looking at medium to hard, or are we looking at 2 stops, 1 stops?
Now this is a super difficult call because I mean, I've been doing some practice, but not enough practice in my opinion, because I don't really know what this track really offers for strategy. But what I can tell you is that from what I've seen from the actual race and doing some research as well on strategy and tire degradation about this track, it looks like that this track is more of a one-stop kind of area. Depends, of course, on the conditions. So in qualifying, we had that we had all those drivers going for the intermediates and the wets and all that sort of thing. So that means they can pick whatever tire they choose for the Grand Prix. A few drivers going for softs, a few drivers going for mediums. I'd say that the mediums to hards might be the best strategy for around here, but don't quote me on that. This is my first time commentating on this track, so I'm kind of learning here as well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. It looks about half and half of those on softs and those on mediums, so perhaps there's not been enough practice for guys to know the optimum strategy around here. Obviously safety cars can come into play, so who does that benefit, the softs or the mediums? What's interesting to me though is that Farth is on the mediums compared to the 3 cars around him on the softs. If he can keep close enough, or even keep a battle with Czech DB or Dr. Wolfgang, he'll still be up there, and it could be interesting to see how that one works out. Further down the field, it looks like the guys at the back are going for the one definite one stop, a yellow to white most likely. So if they can work their way up through the field, then I think that safety car would definitely mix things up, and I think we're just going to have to wait and see as they're all warming up their tyres. But it's going to be great to see. I'm just hoping for some good racing, some clean racing, and just to see this wonderful track, because I've not driven it yet, and it does look fantastic, and I can't wait to get out there.
Yeah, it truly is a magnificent track, and like you said, can't wait to see what is going to be happening in this race. Predicted pit stop strategy, powered by AWS, of course, predicts that a soft to hard strategy or a medium to hard strategy could be the best opportunity. So definitely solidifying that theory that it is a one-stop strategy. But of course, like you said, safety car could come out at any point as well, and weather could affect the race as well. Let's quickly do a rundown of the group before we get into our race here at LFR. We got Tim on pole position on those soft tires with F1 Farth alongside him on the first row of the grid. Farth on those mediums as well, so keep an eye on those medium tires. Czech DB is in the Ferrari lining up third alongside Dr. Wolfane in the McLaren starting fourth. Then we got Rabbi 16 on the medium compound tires alongside Keen David on the softs for Alpine F1 team. Roar 222 is seventh for Aston Martin with Flea in P8 in the AlphaTauri. A. Thompson is P9 with Yun1 in the Alpha starting 10th. And then when we got the bearded Dave Bent and then Mr. Basil, I think I pronounced that correctly, Keen Nem, and then Apex rounding off the grid for Haas. So anyway, it's time to get the race here today, getting underway. Hope you're ready for this, viewers. Steve, I hope you're ready for an amazing race. It truly is going to be here at Portugal. Portimao is about to get the racing underway here at LFR. The fiber lights are out for the Portuguese Grand Prix in Season 2 for Round 5, and the fiber lights are out. And away we go. Looks like a pretty good start for Farth as he looks to try and challenge the, oh, sorry, that's the Aston Martin. Sorry, the Ferrari tries to get ahead of the Alpine. So the Ferrari got a better start than the Alpine. Check on those softs. It's up into second place now. Looks like, I think King David and Rabbi battling out as they come through turn 4. Is the Haas going to get ahead? I think the Alpine might be able to get ahead of this one, but he's kind of boxed in by the McLaren just ahead. The Haas might be able to go down the inside, and there goes the Williams of A. Thompson down the inside on Roar, and they're too wide, coming down into turn 5 for the 5th and 6th and 7th and 8th cars, as Rabbi and King David still go side by side, but the Alpine does get ahead further down the order. I think it's a pretty clean start for everyone, but Tim leads us away from Czech with an amazing start. Farth, unfortunately, did not get a good start.
Looks like those medium tyres didn't work out for him on the start of the grid. I did notice near the back of the grid, Apex Finlay has lost his entire front wing, so he's going to have to pit on lap 1. Luckily there was no safety car, but it was a brilliant start. Everybody seemed to keep their noses clean from what I could see. Farth just, yeah, you're right, he just didn't get the good start on those medium tyres. Czech DB on those softs just seemed to pull away brilliantly. But some great racing, and at the end of lap 1, it seems that most people have come away unscathed, unfortunately, apart from Apex. So it'll be interesting to see if he just goes on to the hards and tries to get nearer the end, or if he's going to have to switch to a full 2-stop. But Tim Shep looks comfortable out in the lead at the moment in the Aston Martin.
Keen in the Alpine just got past F1 Farth, so those mediums are really not working out for Farth, but it might work out later down the Grand Prix, but he is struggling compared to the softs runners, so that's quite interesting as well, as Czech DB just got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings already on lap 2. I wonder if he got too many warnings for exceeding track limits at certain corners, but he got that at turn 4. I think that Alfa Romeo of Yun1 and A. Thomas may be battling out as well, as there goes the Williams down the inside of the Alfa Romeo. The Alfa went a little too wide, as they're going to go side by side through turn 6, flat out the rear, of course, and Yun1 now has to back off as A. Thomas now gets up into P8. So A. Thomason, 95 in the Williams, is up to P8. Yun1 down to P9, continuing battling out for all these positions. Great to see.
That was brilliant racing, side by side. They both kept it clean, they both gave each other respect, left enough room, and Thompson managed to get the grip coming out of, I think it was turn 6, I think you said turn 7. And Czech DB, I think he's been running wide at turn 1 and turn 4, which is why he accumulated the multiple warnings, and that 3-second penalty could be huge at the end of this race with how close things are at the moment. Farth, you're right, just goes backwards on those mediums at the moment, and he does seem to be getting caught by Dr. Wolfgang at the moment. What will be interesting to see is where these soft runners come out after their first pit stop. Are these mediums going to get ahead and start to clog up the race with these soft runners when they go in, or are they going to make a big enough gap that they can get away after their pit stops? And we're seeing more penalties coming in with Apex and B69 ETT at the back. He's also got a penalty. So a lot of running wide. I think a lot of turn 1 and turn 4 cars seem to be running wide, just taking liberties with the track limits, and they're paying for it.
Oh. Whoa, sorry to interrupt you there, but we have a nice little hour for second place. What a switchback that was from Czech DB. Just made the move and is up in the second place. He's back up in a second. David overtook him, but Czech pulled on an amazing switchback maneuver. It was so close to contact, but he absolutely just did it. He absolutely did it. That's the word I can use there, as the Ferrari moves up in a second place. Sorry to cut you off there. Did you have anything else to say?
No, you were fine. That was brilliant. Czech DB, as you said, he got the switchback and then he just chopped the nose off of that Alpine, which he had every right to do because it was his line on the corner, and he did it brilliant. But what I'm noticing about the drivers in this league so far is they're very clean. They give each other room. There's respect. If only we could have that in real life after the Italian Grand Prix, eh?
You're absolutely correct. Maybe we can talk about that incident with Verstappen and Hamilton. That is a good thing to talk about if we get the chance to. But look at Wolfing flying on the Alpine. That Alpine has no pace, but look up at the front. Check and David. Oh, a little contact.
David's managed to get past. He got down the inside of turn 1. I think it was the inside anyway. And yeah, again, a beautiful overtake. But that Ferrari's going to fight back through this DRS zone, coming down towards the hairpin. Alpine covers them off on the inside. Ferrari's going to try and go the long way. Oh, he tried to cut back, but Alpine parked it on the apex. That was nicely done by David, and DxTt just wasn't expecting it, so he'll just have to sit on the gearbox of that Alpine. Oh, I don't think he could squeeze down the inside there, and it was proven, but some really good racing at the moment, which is what we were really looking forward to.
Yeah, brilliant racing right there. That was masterclass from both King David and DxTt. Well done to both drivers. And as you said before, I have really I've continued to notice that the drivers really do leave space between their fellow competitors. It is incredible.
DxTt's just been given another penalty. So he's taking liberties with these track limits and he's paying for it. And at the moment, with how close these cars are, I know it's not going to be that way at the end of this race, but if it was to be, he's going to lose a lot of positions for these penalties.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, he already has, I think, 6 seconds of time penalties. That's going to really affect his result towards the end of the Grand Prix.
The other thing I was going to mention is we're 5 laps into this, and usually there's some big gaps. You start to see where the skill level and the tyre levels are, but looking at the gaps at the top, you know, you're talking a half a second between most of these cars. I think if I could just check with the leader, yeah, we're 10 seconds between the top 9. That's a brilliant racing and very close racing, which is what we want to see. I think the fighting behind with King David going on DxTt at the moment.
Check absolutely went for a send. That was beautiful from the Ferrari driver. He looked to go for it. Unfortunately, lost out though. He was trying to fight it, but nothing he could really do at this point. He's going to have to wait for that DRS zone. So King David does move up into second place, back up into the second place position for the Alpine driver. A quick note, what you were saying there with the gaps, it is quite a big difference, I would say, between first and second place. I think this battling that's been happening with David and Czech has really allowed Tim to get away from this. He now has a 4.4 second gap. He's coming through turn 15 now, and David's already coming through turn 14. So the gap is pretty significant between these drivers. And also, I think the reason why there's a pretty big pace difference when it comes to gaps between Tim and David is not only because of the battling, but also maybe because of the setups as well. Maybe one driver has a better setup, the other does not. We'll have to see how that all works out. As Farth getting very close, I wonder if those mediums are starting to come into play a little bit more now as he's coming into lap 6. This might be helping him out as Czech, loses the car a little bit there. I wonder if he keeps getting a little bit too much understeer because he is going a little wide into a few corners. Maybe that's why he's getting a few penalties there. But here comes F1 Farth down the inside of the Ferrari car as we go down into turn 5. We've seen a lot of moves there, and it's worked out for Farth this time as DxTt trying to fight this one back as he's all over the back of the Alpine car. What great racing this is for third position.
That is some brilliant racing, and I was just about to say, just when you were speaking, we've just had somebody disqualified for driving the wrong way. The bearded Dave's just been disqualified from this race, according to my screen.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he's out. So I was just going to say, it seems that King David might be struggling with grip, because he seems to be the one at the front of this train. And I know he was fighting with DxTt, but DxTt was all over the back of him. So for Farth to take advantage of that and get ahead of DxTt, who was struggling behind King David, it'll be interesting to see if these mediums are coming into their own, and if he can get ahead of King David now and start the hunt down on Tim, who I have to say is having a very lonely race at the front.
Yeah, right now he's got a pretty big gap to...
Gotta watch these Alpines down this pit straight.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. Here we go. The Alpine's going side by side, and Farth is up into second place. What a move that was on his teammate. Also, I think, and that's Dr. Wolfing and Rabbi that just made contact. I think there was a little bit of wing damage to one of the cars there. That was at turn 1, showing that turn 1 is a very difficult corner to go side by side at. I think that's what happened as Rabbi and Wolfing, I think, made contact. As Rabbi going round the outside of A. Thompson. Is he going to go for the switchback maneuver? Looks to be going for it. I see that the medium tires might be the faster tire at this point. They may have not been towards the beginning of the Grand Prix, but now on lap 7, Farth and Rabbi are showing that they got the pace by overtaking a few people, and they're both on mediums.
This is a high-speed track. It's going to take its toll on these tyres. It's not traction zones like we get in places like Azerbaijan. This is all just cornering speed, scrubbing away at those tyres. And I think you're entirely right. The mediums are just starting to come into their own. They've still got life in them. These softs are starting to wear out. So I fully expect to see these soft runners go into the pits soon to get these changed, and probably onto the hard as we saw at the beginning. But these medium drivers are just starting to pick up the pace, and Fard, as I said on the last lap, is now in second, so he can start the hunt down of Tim if Tim's tyres are starting to go as well, because he's out there on the softs.
Yeah, I mean, like, it is Tim probably going to be pitting.
Sorry, Rabbi and Wolfgang, after that contact, they're now both in the pits, and so is Nem Vidic. He's in the pits as well. So see which tyres they go on to, because Rabbi was on the yellows, Wolfgang was on the reds. So from what I can see, Rabbi is going on to a set of soft tyres. He's going on to the reds. So he's committed to a 2-stop. He'll probably do reds and then probably go back onto the yellows, if not the white. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that one. But not what I expected to see.
Yeah, really unexpected to see that from Rabbi, and not just Rabbi too. It looks like Wolfane as well, also on the soft tires. So they have chosen to go for the definite 2-stop strategy. And to be honest, this could work out for them, because since the VSC has been called out, and I do believe the reason why that was called out is because Yun one, I think, in the Alfa Romeo crashed out at, I think, turn 11, if I'm not mistaken.
You're right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so something happened to him.
Yeah. I didn't see what happened. I just saw when he was going down the leaderboard that he'd crashed out. So it'd be interesting to see if, some footage from his point of view later on, see what happened with his. But this VSC has definitely helped those guys that went into the pits.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is kind of a they will gain a lot of time.
Dr. Wolfgang's been giving a penalty for speeding, so his delta must have been in the red when that VSC was ending. That's unfortunate. He's just been in the pits for contact. He's got a penalty at the moment as well, and now he's got a drive-through, and so does Mr. Basil. He's got a drive-through penalty as well, so I think that must be pretty close to their races being over, I'm afraid.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's going to set them back quite a lot, unless the safety car comes out, and it's possible that it could, and that could save their race as well, so they got to be praying for that, unfortunately, right now, because of that drive-through penalties that they did get. But that's the way it goes in racing. Sometimes the delta is just the delta, and you got to respect it. You know, that's how it goes in racing. As Basil, I think, will be pitting under that drive-through penalty, so he's going to come out in P10, still in the points, but he's going to be a few car positions behind, of course, and a lot of time behind the nearest car. Up at the front as well, the battle continues on for second through to 5th place now, because of those two drivers that did pit. So McLaren and Haas both pit, and now the top 4, or 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, now stay out. Now, how long can these softs really last? That is the question. Unfortunately, we don't get these tire graphs. We don't know exactly what is what when it comes to these tires percentages, like, so we don't know exactly what that is all about, but I'm expecting drivers to start coming in pretty soon, as these tires might start to fall off. What's your points on kind of just like all the soft runners right now, and particularly 1st, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, who are all in the softs and are yet to pit in this Grand Prix?
From the AWS.
Sorry to interrupt you there, but Czech just made contact with King David. Saw that on board with A. Thomason, and whoa, what has just happened there? I think Czech maybe just outbraked himself at turn 3. That corner can be quite difficult, as that is the Haas of Apex spinning around, I think, at turn 13, if I'm not mistaken. But there was contact with Czech DB and King David as they were into turn 3.
These cars just running so close to one another, and you know, everybody's just eager to get a move on. And this track, it offers some good overtaking spots, but they are difficult overtaking spots. You have to have both drivers respecting one another, which we have seen, but I think he just went for a dive bomb that didn't quite work out for him. He still seems to be going, although I don't know if he's got understeer with a little damage wing, because he's just been given a 3-second penalty for running wide, where he hasn't really been running wide, so I think that might be a little bit of wing damage. When you were talking about the soft and the medium runners, I think the AWS at the beginning was saying between laps 10 and 12 for the soft runners to come in, and between laps 13 and 15 for the medium runners to come in. So we should start to see these softs start to pit, those who haven't already, and the mediums should be able to go a few more laps. So When Tim comes into the pits, it's where does he come out? Does he get stuck behind people? And how much can Farth take advantage of that at the moment?
Yeah, that's the question. I mean, like, if Tim does come out in traffic, that will allow Farth. I think right now he's sitting second. That will allow
I will
him
say, by
to
the
get
way,
up there.
Czech did have wing damage. He's come in the pits, he's replaced his wing, and he's put on the hard tyres. So he should be good to go to the end. It looks like he's going to come out in about 7th. Yeah, there's no cars coming up. So he comes out in 7th. He's on those tyres to the end, so he's just got to keep his head down, stay out of trouble, and try and make those positions back up.
Yeah, that's all that matters right now. I mean, he's on the hards. He's going to the end, we assume. As he's P7 right now, it's just all about making those positions up, as you said. So we'll have to see how that all works out for Czech, as he did get wing damage due to the contact with King David. I think that was at turn 3. Moving on. The top 3 have not really pit, except Farth, so it would be 1st, 3rd, and 4th have not pit in this Grand Prix. Tim's still staying out on lap 12, showing that the softs might not be they're not degrading that fast. So I wonder how this is working out. I wonder if they're going for the hard strategy, soft to hard. Do you think that's the possibility here?
I think that's going to be what it is. I think when you look at the amount of guys that were on the mediums, they don't want to have to do 2 stops, push for the entire race, and try and catch it back up. So look after these softs for a little bit. You might pit 1 or 2 laps before the medium runners, but get out on those hards and see how you can do. Farth still hasn't pit yet, so I'll just be interested to see when Tim comes in. That's who I'm really looking forward to seeing when he comes in, because that should be a good indicator. He's been out in clean air. When he comes in, the rest of them definitely will be, because they've been fighting and sitting behind other cars, so their tyres probably should be a little bit more worn than Tim's, but I'd say Tim's had it easy out in front so far, and yeah, not had any problems at all, no penalties, just keeping it in those track limits, and the rest of them are just fighting it out and it's slowing them down, so Tim, pretty easy out in front.
Yeah, he really has had a pretty solid race, I would say. Just continuing what you're saying there. Yeah, he's been just out in front doing the best he can, and just well done to the Aston Martin driver. Been doing really, really well. But let's see if he comes into this pit lane. No, he's staying out. He's staying out for another lap here. So his tires will be 12 laps old. On to lap 13 we go. What about King David or A. Thompson? A. Thompson coming into the pit lane. King David not. So 1st and 3rd stay out, but A. Thompson will pit. I'm assuming that is going to be for the hards, but let's see.
It should be for the hards, and it'll be interesting to see if King David does come into the pits on the next lap. Will Thompson have managed to get the undercut on him or not? And Tim doesn't have anything to worry about, I don't think, undercut-wise, but it'll be interesting to see if the undercut's strong here or if the overcut's strong here. So keep an eye out on King David and A. Thompson at the moment and see who comes out once David's been in the pits.
Yeah, that is going to be the question here. The undercut strategy could work out for A. Thompson on the soft tires right now. He's definitely going for the 2-stop because those softs will not make it to the end of the Grand Prix. Of course, he already pit for the softs, and with the regulations as they are, you have to pit for a different set of compound than what you started on. So A. Thompson.
I'm glad you noticed that, because I didn't notice that he'd gone back out in the soft, so it's strange that he's gone for the 2-stop, because I would expect everybody else to just put on those hards and go to the end.
Yeah, it is quite interesting that he did go for the softs. I think that's something that we do need to talk about here, because why has he gone for the soft tires? Because, like you said, he's definitely going for the 2-stop here, but he's going to lose a lot of time. Do you think that maybe he's going to pull like a Hamilton or something like that, and pit and then try and catch up?
Nemvedic is off the track, by the way. Yellow flags. I don't see any damage, but he's off the track. I think that's at the top of turn 6. No, not turn 6.
I think that's at beginning or the end of turn 8 into that section. As he spins around.
Again. I think his rear tires must be extremely warm, and he's just getting no grip out there. He's already a lap down as well. I don't think he's having a good time out there. But King David's in the pit, so this will be where it's interesting to see if Thompson managed to get ahead. And he has. Thompson has worked that undercut, and David, another one coming out on the soft. So I think it looks like this 2-stop. Maybe those hards aren't quite as durable as we were expecting, or AWS was expecting, and that the 2-stop's going to be the way. But that does leave the door open for those medium runners to go a few more laps and put on the whites and go to the end. It'll be interesting to see what their strategy is versus the guys on the reds. And Tim as well. Tim out in front on the reds. And is he going to do a 1-stop or is he going to do the 2-stop? Because that could be key in whether he wins this race or not.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, right now he's got the advantage to do the one stop, but I mean, is it the best strategy? I think it is, but the thing is that safety car can come out at any point as well. That could affect the racing as well. But I mean, I don't know. It might be the best. I think he's definitely going for the one stop here of the soft to hard strategy, because I mean, he's really taking these softs for a long ways. And I mean, well done to him. He's doing a great job right now to take these softs 14 laps, showing that maybe the softs are not too bad for around here, or he's just a great driver when it comes to just conserving these tires. I mean, he's doing a great job as it stands. A. Tomlinson is just set the fastest lap of the race. So Tomlinson on the Williams car. He's on the soft tires, as I mentioned, and he's 4th place right now, catching up to Flea. He's 2 seconds to the AlphaTauri in 3rd at this time. So it's possible that Thompson can be able to get ahead of Tim. That's only if he continues this pace and Tim stays out for a few more laps. But I don't know. I mean, strategy is going to come into play a lot right now. This is where it counts. Will Tim pit for the softs, or will he pit for the hards, or will he pit for the mediums? He could pit for the mediums here, guys. And so that could be an option as well. Soft and medium. That could be a good strategy.
I mean, if he manages to get these softs 15 laps, which he has so far, and he's still not pitting, Tim is going round again, then he might be able to take those mediums to the very end, because he's done effectively half race distance on this set of softs, so he should be able to take those mediums to the end. And I have to say, he must be looking after his tyres better than Sergio Perez does, because everybody else who started on the softs has pitted so far, and he's the only one out there. He's still setting competitive laps, and far with the mediums on behind, isn't able to keep up.
Yeah, he isn't. It's quite surprising, actually. I mean, maybe the sauce, or actually, I don't really have a conclusion to what is going on here, because Tim is doing a massive job to just keep ahead of Farth. I mean, he is 9 seconds to the Aston Martin. I expect that gap to start going down, but it's actually surprisingly going up. It's now 9.3 seconds. He's starting to gain on the time. Does he have like magical softs or something like that? Tim is doing a massive, amazing job here today. Great job from the Aston Martin driver. He's doing great. His check gets a 3-second time penalty. I think that might be 12 seconds for him, or no, it's 15 seconds for check. He's gonna be hurting on those penalties that he's got right now. As Thompson gets past Flea, the battle continues on right now. Well done to Thompson. He's just got past the AlphaTauri. It's King. Yeah, it's 3 cars right here, because King David's here too.
That's some brilliant racing, and so close. And I have to say as well, I think, are they on different tires? They are. So there's 2 of them on the softs and 1 of them on the mediums. And Flea, I think, starting to struggle on those used yellows, especially compared to the guys that have come out in fresh reds. But some brilliant racing. This Alpine and this Williams it was that undercut that did it, so it's whether or not A. Thompson can keep ahead or not. And I also have to say, out front, Tim, once again, going round again. It looks like he's going to take these softs to the end.
Yeah, he might be able to. As King David gets past him in 3rd?
He does, he gets past him into 3rd. The DRS is strong down that pit straight, because it's a long right-hander at turn 15, so you build up the pace, and then you get in that slipstream and you take it down to turn 1. So be good to see if Thompson can fight back, because David was ahead originally, but so far, it looks like we're going to go down into turn 6 at the hairpin, and the Williams is going to try around the outside. Oh, he's going to keep it there, and the Alpine's going to squeeze him out. Just squeeze him out, and unfortunately that gives Thompson a penalty.
Yeah, he might be a little bit upset. Oh, he forces him off a little bit. Getting a little too much, guys.
Yep. These guys are getting angry with one another. You're going to force me off the track? I'll force you off the track.
That's exactly my thoughts. As Tim finally does pit on 17 lap old tires. Oh, wow.
I don't know how he's done it. I do not know how he's done that, because he's gone over half race distance on a set of softs. He can now put on the mediums, and if he can do that with the softs, he's happy until the end on these mediums. So if he can just keep out of trouble, I don't think Fard's going to offer any competition at this pace at this point, and Tim should have this win in the bag as long as everything just goes smoothly.
And you know what's even better for Tim is Farth just got a 3-second time penalty. That's going to even help Tim a lot more. He's now 13.8 seconds. And if he showed the pace in the softs, he could definitely take these mediums to the end of the race. This is working out really well.
Tim with a penalty. Tim just went wide at what I think is turn 3. Mm-hmm. He went wide there, and he's been given a penalty as well. So that evens that back up.
Yeah, it does. So, yeah, I mean, now now they're equal. Now they are absolutely equal. As Czech just got past Flea, who just pit onto a set of soft compound tires. Now this is quite interesting. Flea's going to the softs. Now I wonder if maybe he's thinking of taking these softs to the end of the race. Could we see him going even longer than Tim? Maybe like a 20 laps on the soft tires. That's like Monaco or maybe Brazil distance for the soft tires. But I mean, is it possible?
I mean, well, Tim managed it, so he's got to do another 16 laps on this set of reds. Do you know? Did he come off a set of yellows or did he come off a set of reds? I didn't see.
It was mediums. Yeah, he went off the set of mediums.
So perhaps he is going to try and go to the end, which blows all our strategy talk at the start of this race out the window, because we expected red to white or yellow to white, but red to yellow seems to be a feasible strategy. Just have to see if Flea can make it work. If not, he might be going for the double red. He might be going yellow, red, red for the end of this race. You just have to get his foot down, catch up and get past as many as he can, get back in and do the exact same thing again.
Yeah, it's possible that is the case here. We don't really know. I mean, like, because the strategy's kind of open here. We don't really know exactly what the strategy is. We're kind of learning as we go here, viewers, because like we've never really raced this track. We never commentated on this track before because it's so new. It's such a new experience. But that's what makes it so exciting, you know? Because then we get like some crazy strategies. Like Tim, he took it 17 laps on the softs. I still can't forget about that. That's the McLaren of the. I think that's. Beat, I think, in the McLaren has just spun it off of turn 8, showing that corner is a traction zone right there. That corner is a very, very difficult corner to get completely right. So I don't know how that's going to work out for a lot of drivers here today. Up at the front as well, let's keep an eye on Farth. Now, what is your thoughts? Showing that we have seen that the softs can go 17 laps with Tim, is it possible that Farth can maybe pit for the softs quite soon and maybe go for the same amount of distance that Tim did? Or what's your thoughts on that?
I would say that Tim looked after the reds very well, and Tim is catching up right now, but I think if Farth can look after these mediums for another couple of laps, he'll have a fresher set of reds at the end than Tim will yellows. So the longer Farth can do on these yellows now, the fresher his reds will be at the end of this race, to give him a chance to try and catch up with Tim and fight for the win. If he was to pit now, his tyres will be quite very old. They're going to be 14 laps old at the end of this race, but if he can just hold on for a couple more laps, get a bit more freshness in them, I think that might be his best opportunity to fight for this win. Even though he's losing time now, it's easier to build it up red versus yellow at the end on a lighter fuel load.
Yeah, exactly. I think getting those mediums, taking those mediums for as long as possible is exactly what we want to see from Farth, and hopefully that will work out. As King David and A. Thompson are battling it out as well. A. Thompson was overtaken by King. Interesting. Hold on a second. Riding on board with Thompson. There is rain in the sky falling down now. We have rain coming in. Yep, there's a lot of rain coming in now through Sector 2 now as we go on board with the Williams driver. I wonder if Farth is taking these meetings for as long as possible and then pitting for the intermediates. He could take the lead of the Grand Prix today, because no matter what Tim does, once he stays out for as long as possible, he can't close that gap in time, because he's going to have to pit as well. He'll be down to second place. Farth might take the race lead if the intermediates come into play towards the end of the Grand Prix.
It's just a shame that as commentators we don't get to see the weather forecast. We didn't know if rain was expected or not, and if this has just been a masterclass by Farth, sit on the yellows, look after those medium tyres, and when the rain does come, get on the inters and try and do it. But you're totally right. If this does play out the way it is going just now, Tim, after that comfortable lead, will end up in second place and having to fight for that win, because he's not got a chance to overtake Farth until they're both on the intermediates. But I just wonder how quickly this rain's going to come down. Is it going to be 1 or 2 laps before they're going to have to come in, or is it going to be a few more than that? And I also have to say, by the way, King David and Thompson, they're going down it into turn 6 again. Thompson trying to go around the outside. That Alpine will squeeze him every time. He knows it's coming now. But they've been fighting within half a second of each other for the last 4 or 5 laps. It's been really good to watch, actually.
Yeah, what I've noticed that's been pretty astonishing from these two is that they have so much courage coming into these corners, and on a track that we don't really know too much, they have so much courage with that they're able to go sending it into turn 1. That maybe shows that they respect the other driver. So I think this is a lot of respect here today. So Thompson, he went down the inside at turn 1. I think he knew that David was going to give him the space. Maybe they've raced with each other for a while. I can't say I have seen them race quite a lot because this is my first race commentating on here. But yeah, I mean, like maybe they know each other and maybe they just have a lot of respect for each other. As Thompson gonna try and go for it once again. He's got the DRS, he's got the pace, and he's gonna do exactly possibly what he's gonna do on the previous lap as well. Thompson and David go side by side through turn 2 as we go. And who's gonna come out ahead? It's David.
Incredible. You're saying about respect, and these guys do have respect, but you're right about them knowing the limits of this track in terms of where they can brake to get past each other. But these two guys, I think, have been battling for so long in this race that getting a little heated out there at times. Is that Alpine again is going to squeeze that Williams out? One thing I would say though is Thompson has a 6-second penalty which is going to come into play at the end of this race. So if he really does want to get not just that position but to keep that position, he's going to have to get ahead and drive off. So we'll have to see how these guys do on the inters, if they continue to fight, or if Thompson can pull away, or if David just pulls away, and that 6 seconds will just take Thompson down the grid. It'll be interesting to see how it works out. We saw quite a lot of guys spinning and qualifying in the wet. That was on full wets. So again, have any of these guys got any inter running in them apart from the 2 guys who set time in quali? We'll have to wait and see when they come in. But so far, no signs of anybody coming into the pits for wet weather tyres.
Yeah, I mean, the wets aren't going to come into play, I think. Actually, I mean, the wets are starting to come down a little bit, I think. The weather is starting to come down. That could allow for the intermediate tires to come into play a little bit. Like lap 26, that's where I think the intermediates might start be the tire to go on instead of the dry tires. We don't really know. This time around, Thompson can't get past David into 1. He's going to have to get past him in other places. He's looking for a move into 3 as we go into 4. So let's see if Thompson can maybe get past into turn 5. I don't think DRS is enabled. DRS is enabled. But we got to remember that these... Oh, he's going to send it around the outside. Here we go. Thompson trying to fight it back with David as they've been kind of pushed wide a little bit there. Respect continues on, but they're still battling it out. They want this position to continue on. They want this fighting to continue on. Oh, so who's going to get ahead? That's Thompson, but he spins it. He spins around. I think he's going to save it, though, but King David will get back up into 3rd place. Thompson down to 4th. The battle continues on. I know they have a lot of respect for each other, but I think they're battling it out. They're giving everything to try and get whatever position they choose. So King David trying to defend. Thompson trying to overtake.
This has been incredible. Thompson and David have been going at this since the pit stop, since their very first pit stop, so 8 and 9 laps ago when they undercut one another, and their racing's been superb. That Williams has gone for that move at turn 6 about 4 laps in a row. He's tried to go around the outside, and every single time that Alpine shut the door. I think what the Williams needs to do is go on the outside, let David cover the inside, break that little bit earlier and get that switch back to go up the hill. That's, I think, is going to be his best opportunity whilst they're on the soft tyres. The reason that Thompson isn't able to make a move this lap and the last one at turn 1 is because he's running out of ERS. He's running out of ERS by the time he gets to that turn 1, so he hasn't got the power to keep going. He's using everything he can, and unfortunately he's using too much just now.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely correct. I mean, he's not able to catch up enough ERS because he's just trying to put as much pressure as he can on David at every second. I think saving ERS is kind of a difficult thing for around here as well, with so many uphill sections of the track and downhill. It's like a roller coaster, as we did mention. Yeah, I think, like you said, Thompson can't get past King David because he just doesn't have enough ERS. So this is exactly what David needs to do, just keep defending as much as possible. But what is a little bit more of a issue, I would say, for these two drivers is that the rain is coming into play and the track can get a lot more slippier. So always, you can see it right there with Thompson saving the car. They may want to battle each other out, but they got to remember that the rain's coming into play and they could lose the car at any point and make a little mistake that could take them both out of the race. We don't know how this is all going to work out, but Thompson is using ERS to try and catch up to David. I think David is a little bit further ahead and might be able to stay ahead.
Yeah, and again, Thompson's coming onto that pit straight with 4% of his ERS, so he's not going to have enough to get down because David is sitting at 25%. I was noticing on the last lap, David about 10 to 15% more ERS than Thompson, and as long as they're pushing it at the same time, David's always going to have it. One thing I will say, by the way, is CheckDB has come out with the intermediate tyres, and he is struggling. He's already lost about 2 seconds since he went into the pits for those intermediates, and he is just bleeding time. He's not able to get the traction anywhere. He's understeering. It's not the right call at the moment, so maybe another couple of laps. I don't know if he was maybe asked by Jeff, his race engineer, to come in or not, but at the moment that looks like the wrong call, because he was at about 18 seconds behind Apex when he came out the pits, and it's now at 21.9.
Very interesting. So the intermediates maybe aren't the tire to go on right now, proving it with Czech. And actually, look at that. Czech is actually being catched by Kane and Dr. Wolfling. And this battle is going to actually get quite interesting as well. So the battle for 8th is going to continue on with those intermediate tires for Czech. Kane is going to try and get past. He's using the ERS. He's using the DRS to try and get past that Ferrari. That Ferrari's defending the inside line. The AlphaTauri tries to make a move as Tim and Farth. Farth has just spun it. What happened to Farth? Farth and Tim have made contact, I think, up at the front. What happened to them up at the front? Tim is, maybe Farth is spun or something like that. I have to see exactly what happened there. But Tim and Farth have possibly made contact. Tim is now into the race lead, but Farth is down to 4th. And he's got no wing as well, and heading for the soft compound tires. There was contact, I think, between the two.
I think there was contact. Again, I didn't know what he was going to do tire-wise. He's gone on to a set of softs, so he should be able to make it to the end if the track stays dry. It really was not the time for the inters. And it's a twofold problem for Czech in the moment, and Nem, who's also on the intermediates. It's a twofold problem. They're losing time at the moment, and with the track not being wet enough, they're going to burn through these tyres. So even when everyone else switches to inters, their tyres are going to be nowhere near as fresh. I didn't see what happened with F1 Farth. He's come into the pits, and if nobody else has to pit again, that's cost him dearly. You said you thought he spun or maybe hit Tim. I'm not sure. I didn't see it, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to look at that footage once again with the battle for the race lead. But yeah, the case is that Farth has... that is a full course safety car that has been called out. That's because Basil has retired at, I do believe that is turn 12, if I'm not mistaken. The full course safety car has been deployed. This changes everything now. So Tim into the pit lane now. What tire is he going to choose? I wonder if it is the intermediate compound tires for the Aston Martin driver. It is the intermediates for Tim.
So it's the intermediates. I still don't think it's time, but it's coming. And with the safety car being out, the car's going slower. This track might get wet enough for it to come into play. But Thompson coming in the pits at the moment. It'll be interesting to see what he goes on as. He's locked out. He's managed to get up into 2nd place. He must have gone past King David just before they went in the pits. So be interesting to see. I can see King David going on to the intermediates, and so is Thompson. So everybody should be on the intermediates now. The safety car will push everyone up, and unfortunately that means that the penalties everybody has accumulated are going to come into play, because everybody has penalties. And looking at Czech DB, he's got 23 seconds, but Thompson has 9 seconds. So unfortunately that's going to push him down, because if these guys can't create a big enough gap after the safety car, they're going to fall right down this field. Who it does help is Tim, especially with Farth having 6 seconds and Tim only having 3. But it also works out in King David's favour, and the fact that if he can get a good few laps after the safety car, he's got a chance of getting this race win off of Tim.
Yeah, he does. And I mean, who knows what can happen now, because now that the safety car has come out, it's completely changed the entire order around. So this is going to get really interesting. By the way, another piece of information that we should probably mention as well is that King has been disqualified from the Grand Prix. The reason why is I think because he overtook the safety car. I wonder if maybe that was on accident, or maybe he was trying to get past the safety car. Maybe they fixed that glitch or something like that, or not. Maybe they fixed it so you can overtake the safety car now if you're a lapped car, of course. But unfortunately, he was disqualified. That rule is still in place there, that lap cars cannot pass the safety car. Yeah, that is the case. But now that the grid has kind of formed back up, I think a lot of drivers are going to have that mindset of kind of like, okay, I got a second chance now to kind of come back from this. I think one driver that has that mindset is going to be F1 Farth. He's got a second chance now. After that maybe possible contact with Tim or spin on his own, it doesn't matter really. He was down to 4th. He now has that mindset of now is the second chance to come back and try and fight for the win once again. So he is 4th place, but the thing is if he's going to fight for the win with Tim, he has to get past that Thompson and David, who have been battling out throughout the session, and I do believe Thompson did get past David at turn 3 a while ago. That's why he's back up at a second place. So there was a move there from Thompson. Nevertheless, though, everyone is in their same positions. Everyone is there. The only driver that is on a little bit more worn tires is Czech, because he pit a little bit early, I want to say, on the intermediate compound tires. So now it's time for the intermediates. I think now is the time we're going to see some great racing as well. DRS is going to be disabled, if I'm not mistaken. So now we're just going to have to see some good old racing from here at Portugal.
Yeah, and again, I hate to talk about it because it's a pain, but those penalties coming into play. Thompson, he's in a great position and he needs to pull away. Now, one thing I was looking at just whilst you were speaking there is these driver standings. So at the moment, Rab is leading the Drivers' Championship, and he's leading by 11 points, so he's got a nice lead. So him sitting in 5th, that's a good position for him to be in, because his next 2 competitors are Roar, who has DNF'd, and Young One, who has DNF'd. So if Rabbi can just, I don't know if it's Rabbi or Rabbi, but if they can just take this to the end, then they should be able to increase their lead at the top of the standings by quite a margin. The next guy that's got a chance to catch up is Tim, who's sitting in 4th at the moment, but he is 17 points off the lead, which he's not going to get over Rabbi, so he can't take first. But this would be nice if Rabbi could just finish this race as well as Tim. The fact that Young One and Roar have crashed out helps them immensely.
Oh yeah, it truly does. I mean, like, this grid is now going to be packed up, and this will allow a lot of drivers to be able to get a lot of pace in their tires when the safety car restarts. You know, they'll have a lot more pace, and this will allow a lot of drivers, like you said, Rabbi, to try and get up there as well, with penalties coming into play as well. As you did mention, I'm going to quickly get the penalties on screen now. There we go. So yeah, I think a lot of drivers with these bigger penalties, like A. Thompson on those 9 seconds of time penalties, F1 Farth with those 6 seconds of time penalties, and Flea and Czech both with 10 seconds and 23 seconds for Czech. That's going to affect the race quite a bit. So Apex might be able to get up into 6th or maybe even higher with the penalties that he has. Same with the McLaren of Dr. Wolfane. So this will be quite interesting to see how this all works out, but it is going to be a nice battle, not just on track, but also off track when it comes to those penalties as well. Drivers will be moving down the positions, trying to get that time to the next driver, because the gap is going to be all for it right here. That's where it's going to be. It's the gap. So Thompson has to, I would say for Thompson to keep second place, he has to get ahead of Tim and get a good enough gap to King David. But I don't know. This is going to get super interesting.
Well, I've got a question for you, Jonah. So in real life, we had chaos at a safety car at Portimao. Remember when Bottas was leading, he didn't want to go into the pit straight? That was Portimao, was it not?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Oh, no, or was that Mugello? Oh, I can't remember. But what would, with this last corner and that big straight, if you were in first, if you were Tim, are you waiting until nearer the start-finish line so there's not as much of a slipstream, or are you going early? What would be your strategy after the safety car comes in?
Well, I mean, it's really difficult. I think I'd probably, I would probably go on the exit of 15, because drivers are already have traction issues with exit of 15. The thing is with this, there's either 2 places to go. You could go at the exit of 14, but that's way too early. So in my case, I would probably go right here, but the safety car is really close to Tim. Tim is gonna go now. He's gonna go oh no, and then he backs off and then he goes. That's an interesting strategy. That might work out, but look at Farth. Farth has just made a move on King David. It's a lot of drivers making moves. This Rabbi going down the inside of the Alpine car when they're going 3 wide down into turn 1. Has it worked out? Yes, I think it has. It has worked out. Rabbi's up at a P4. He's now trying to make a move
on the inside of the Haas. Farth's gone round. He tried to go 3 abreast up the inside at turn 2 with the Rabbi, and unfortunately spun. It is chaos. Look at this, and Farth round again. Apex is round. Flea is round. Flea's lost his front wing. This has been a crazy restart. They all seem to get through turn 1 fine. They seem to be racing hard but well. And I think a lot of this, honestly, has to do with that safety car restart. Tim just followed the safety car, and as soon as the safety car peeled in, that's when he went. He didn't back the grid up, he didn't slow down, give them room, and then decide when to go. He just let the safety car go in, and then he went. So everybody was right next to one another, and unfortunately that's come off really badly for Ford, who I thought had a chance to win this Grand Prix.
Yeah, that's really hurt the race. pretty much all the way down from 7th down. That's really hurt their race of what kind of just happened at turn 3 there. And also, like you said, I think Tim not backing up that train kind of affected that safety car restart in a way that all the drivers were kind of unsure of where the pace was with everyone, and it made kind of a little bit of a chaos into turn 3. It's all good though, we move on, but I think the stewards will probably have to take a look at all those incidents at turn 3 earlier on. A lot of drivers will pit. It looks like the top 5 stay in their same positions as Czech gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Tires, maybe he's aquaplaning, that could be the case. I gotta say though, Rabbi really was on a roll there. He got past into turn 1 and was looking to make a move into turn 3, but unfortunately I think he lost out a little bit into turn 4, and that allowed him to only stay in P4. So that's how it goes. But yeah, the battle continues on.
As long as I said earlier, as long as Rabbi can just stay on the track, he's got a good chance of getting a bigger gap in this championship standing. So for him, he has to play the sensible game. We all know you want to race, we want to gain positions, but you have to be safe, especially in the wet weather conditions with the way everybody's been going. Thompson, he's losing time to Tim. I think Tim's just too quick round here. But Thompson seems to have had a good restart. He didn't get into trouble, neither did David. But it was I thought it was a Williams, but it might have been the Haas, actually. And we've got Nem Vidic at the back going extremely slowly. I don't know what's up with his
Thompson!
car.
Thompson just had a little bit of a spin there, lost 2nd place there, but he's going to come back at the Alpine. Oh, that was almost a spin for Thompson. I think he gets on the gears too early. Maybe that was the case there, as he's going to try and get past King David. The deploy is used though, but he's going to use ERS to try and get past King David. I think King David might just have an advantage over Thompson at this time. You got to remember Rabbi in this battle as well. I wonder if Rabbi is trying to finish on track in 3rd position here, or maybe even higher in 2nd place, because also King David has got a 6-second time penalties now, so that allows Rabbi possibly to get 2nd place in the Grand Prix. This could really work out for him.
He just needs to keep it on the track. He'll be able to see at the top left of his screen that the 2 guys in front of him have penalties. There's no point in trying anything and being silly, causing any accidents. You've got 1.5 laps to go. Keep it on the track. You'll get that 2nd place, and that gives you a great jump in the standings. So keep on the track. Just stay sensible. There's no point in pushing for positions that you're already going to get. And King David has to really watch, because his advantage was over Thompson. This whole race has been penalties. And if he gets another 3-second penalty, then Thompson comes right back into this. Further down the field, Czech DB up to 23 seconds worth of penalties. He was at 28, but he served 5 in the pit lane, as Nem Vidic gets another 5 seconds. I think some of the guys at the back are struggling with traction a lot. But the guys at the front, some good close racing. Thompson and David, I think we need to keep an eye on, but Tim, very comfortable out in the front, and Rabbi just needs to keep it on the track.
Yeah, it's exactly what we're looking for right here, is Tim leading this way. He's going to start the final lap of the Portuguese Grand Prix here today on the Tuesday event, as rain still coming down, of course, with rain coming in towards the end of the Grand Prix and during qualifying as well. And the battle continues on with David and Thompson as well. Rabbi, P4, and like you said, you just got to keep it on the track and see how it all works out.
Yeah, Farr's just running very wide at turn 15 there. I don't know if he was trying to make a move on Apex or not, but he ran very wide and that brought out the yellow flags. But he's still back on track. He's just trying to fight to get back up this grid. He's not had a great Grand Prix. I thought he did so well on those mediums and was able to just get onto the inters, but unfortunately that safety car went right against him. And I will also ask Jonah as well, I know that the game will pick one itself, but for you, who would be your driver of the day today so far?
Oh yeah, that's a really difficult question, because all these drivers did a really good job here today. I got to look at all the position standings, but right now, I mean, Rabbi's doing a great job in P4. Also, I think another driver to possibly think about is Dr. Wolfane. He's going to be getting P3, a podium position for the McLaren. If it stands like this, he should be able to get the podium. I mean, he might deserve my driver of the day, as looks like the Mercedes just crashed out. But here comes Tim round the final corner. We'll talk about driver of the day in just a second. But Tim, he's gone from first from the at the flag to now winning the Grand Prix. He took pole position, and now Tim wins the Portuguese Grand Prix here today at LFR. What an amazing performance from the Aston Martin driver. Rabbi will take second place, and I think King David will hold on to third, so Dr. Wolfane will actually take fourth in this race. Thompson will drop down to fifth with the penalties that he did have. Apex will finish sixth on the grid for Haas. F1 Farth will finish seventh. Czech DB in the Ferrari will finish eighth, unless there's a penalty for actually the penalties might come into play for him. Flea right now P9, and the McLaren will round off the grid in P10. The rest are all retired, but Tim is the winner of the Portuguese Grand Prix with Rabbi and David on the podium for today's race here at LRF. What an amazing race. Sorry, LFR. I keep mispronouncing that.
Yeah. I have to say, for me, driver of the day or not, Tim out in front, every time I flicked over to him, he was in control, he was smooth, and he didn't seem to put a foot wrong this entire race. The safety car restart was a little messy, but apart from that, he drove an absolutely superb race. Rabbi will be delighted with moving up to second place. And yeah, it was unfortunate. I thought Wolfgang might have made it up onto the podium, but he just missed out by 0.7 of a second. So great racing by some of the guys, especially I can't remember their names, but the David and who was in the Williams? No, it wasn't Williams, was it? Yeah, it was Williams. Some great racing from those guys, and there was great racing all over the track. I think the weather played a huge part, so did the safety car, but it was a really, really fun race to watch, I have to say.
Yeah, a great race from all our drivers here today. An incredible Grand Prix from everyone. They really did an amazing job to put on a great performance as always, showing that this league has got some great action on track. And wow, they really did show us some great racing. So anyway, Tim takes the win here today at Portimao, the Algarve International Circuit. Of course, the Portuguese Grand Prix goes to Tim from pole to the win. The Aston Martin driver takes home the win with Rabbi in P2 for Haas F1 team, and fastest lap goes to David in P3 for Alpine F1 team. What an amazing race that truly was here today at LRF. What an amazing, or sorry, LFR. Oh my goodness, I keep mispronouncing that. Why do I mispronounce everything? Limitless Formula Racing. What an amazing league this truly is. It's incredible. My first time commentating. I do believe it is your first time commentating. How did you enjoy this race? Like, what was your experience on commentating for this for the first time?
It was really good, I have to say. It's something I've never done before. It's something I didn't know if I would be good at or not, and I'll leave that to the people commenting that were watching. But no, that was brilliant, and what a race to have my first job of commentating on. That was superb. I want to say thank you to you as well for doing a great job. And yeah, if you ever want to commentate on some more races, then just get in touch with me. But hats off to the guys that finished that race. It was a tough one, but great racing throughout. And yeah, if they invite me back, then I'll happily do this again.
Yeah, an amazing race. Thank you so much for commentating with me as well. Always a pleasure to be commentating with you. Did a great job, and can't wait to be commentating with you again. And like you said, congrats to all the drivers here today. You guys did an incredible job, as always. Yeah, can't wait to see what comes next in the next race here today, but we'll see how it all works out for the next race here at Limitless Formula Racing. What an incredible race it truly was here today at Portimao. I think we learned a lot from that race. First time commentating on that particular event at Portugal, of course, and I think we learned a lot with strategy and all that sort of thing, and can't wait to be commentating on another Portuguese Grand Prix and future Grand Prix, of course, here today at Limitless Formula Racing. So anyway, that's going to be it from us here today at the league. An amazing race it truly was. A lot of rain, and a lot of good racing as well. But viewers, I want to say a big thank you to all of you that watched the stream. You guys are the star of it all. You guys did a great job. Keep commenting. We love the comments that come in. Like this video if you enjoyed the commentary. Subscribe to the YouTube channel to see more LFR commentary on this league. But yeah, that was the Tuesday event, Season 2, Round 5 of the Portuguese Grand Prix. I'm Formula Jonah, and that's Steve. We're signing off for here. See you later, and see you in the next one. Goodbye.
See you later, guys. Bye-bye.